I'm standing in a small claims courtroom, and my own mother is on the witness stand, absolutely bawling her eyes out. I'm talking full-on, theatrical, shoulder-shaking sobs. The judge, this tired-looking guy who has clearly seen everything, just pinches the bridge of his nose, looks over his glasses at me, and says with zero emotion, "So let me get this straight. You are suing your sister, the defendant, for the cost of a rental car, a laptop, and a fake leg cast you found on a novelty website? And the neck brace, Your Honor. Don't forget the matching prop neck brace," I said, holding up my receipts. And yes, that is exactly what I'm doing. The whole room was quiet except for my mom's wailing. Let me tell you, it all started 3 weeks ago with a phone call that I swear to God, I wish I had let go to voicemail. To understand how we got here, you need to understand the family dynamic. I'm Alex. I'm 30. I work a pretty demanding but well-paying job as a software engineer, and I live a solid 3-hour drive away from my hometown. I did that on purpose. I love my family, I do, but I need a certain amount of atmospheric distance. Then there's my sister, Chloe. She's 26, and she is the sun around which my mother's world orbits. Chloe has never been able to hold down a job for more than a few months. It's never her fault, you see. The boss was a jerk, her coworkers were jealous, the commute was too long, the air conditioning was too cold. There was always an excuse. She's been living at home with my mom since she dropped out of community college, living off what's left of my late father's life insurance. She's not a bad person, deep down, but she's allergic to responsibility. She's the kind of person who thinks manifesting is a viable financial plan. And my mom? My mom is the classic enabler. In her eyes, Chloe is a delicate, misunderstood artist who just hasn't found her calling yet. I'm the responsible one, which is family code for the walking ATM. For years, every time Chloe had a new crisis, couldn't make her car payment, needed help with a can't-miss business opportunity that was definitely a pyramid scheme, had to pay a fine for something stupid, my mom would call me. The conversation was always the same. It would start with her telling me how worried she was about Chloe, and end with her guilting me into sending money. "She's your sister, Alex. Family helps family." It was a button she knew how to push, and for a long time, it worked. About a year ago, I finally put my foot down. I told them both, "I love you, but I'm done. I'm not bailing you out anymore. I'm not funding these little dramas." It caused a huge fight, but I stuck to it. And for a while, things were quiet. Too quiet. That brings us to the phone call. I was in the middle of a meeting, my phone was on silent, but I saw it vibrating on the desk. Mom's cellular. I ignored it. It buzzed again, immediately. And a third time. My stomach clenched. Mom only calls like that for 2 reasons. Someone is dead, or Chloe is in trouble. I excused myself and stepped into the hallway. "Mom? What's wrong?" The voice on the other end was a wreck. It was pure, unadulterated panic. "Alex. Oh my God, Alex, it's Chloe." She wailed. I could barely understand her through the sobs. "Mom, calm down, take a breath. What happened?" "There was an accident. A terrible accident. A huge pile-up on the interstate. Her car. Alex, it's totaled. She's in the hospital. You have to come home. You have to come right now." My blood ran cold. In that moment, all the frustration, all the boundaries I had built, they just evaporated. This wasn't some manufactured drama about rent money. This was real. A car crash. A hospital. Which hospital? Is she okay? What did the doctors say? I don't know. They won't tell me anything over the phone. I'm a mess. I can't even drive. Please, Alex, just get here. I didn't even hesitate. I walked straight into my boss's office and said, "Family emergency. I have to go. I don't know when I'll be back." I grabbed my keys, jumped in my car, and spent the next 3 hours flying down the highway, my heart pounding in my chest, imagining the absolute worst. I called her phone a dozen times. No answer. I called my mom. No answer. My mind was just a horror movie montage of twisted metal and flashing lights. When I was about 10 minutes away from town, my mom finally picked up. "I'm almost there," I said, my voice tight. "What's the room number? Which floor is she on?" There was a weird pause. "Oh, well, honey, that's the thing," she said, her voice suddenly much calmer. They discharged her." I almost swerved off the road. "What? They discharged her? Mom, you said it was a multi-car pileup. You said the car was totaled. You don't get discharged from the ER in a few hours after something like that." "Well, the hospital was just so crowded, you know? And they said her injuries weren't life-threatening. so she could recover better at home. It's better this way. Just come to the house, sweetie. She needs you. This was the first red flag. It was a big, bright, flapping in the wind kind of red flag, but my brain was still in emergency mode, so I just pushed past it. Maybe it wasn't as bad as she first thought. Maybe she was just panicked. I pulled into the driveway and ran inside. And there was Chloe, laid out on the living room sofa like a tragic Victorian heroine. She had a massive, white plaster cast on her right leg, propped up on a mountain of pillows. She was also wearing one of those foam neck braces. She looked up at me with these big, sad eyes and gave a little whimper. "Oh, Alex," she whispered dramatically. It was horrible. My mom rushed over, patting my arm. "See? Look at her. The poor thing." I knelt by the couch. "Chloe, are you okay? What did the doctors say is broken?" "My tibia," she said, wincing as if just saying the word caused her immense pain. "And I have severe whiplash." They were worried about a concussion, too. Something felt off. The whole scene felt staged. It was a little too perfect. I'm no medical expert, but the cast looked thick and clumsy, almost cartoonish. "Can I see the discharge papers?" I asked. "Or any of the doctor's notes? I just want to know what we're dealing with." My mom started fussing around the kitchen. "Oh, in all the confusion and my panic, I must have left them at the hospital front desk. Silly me. I'll call about them tomorrow." Red flag number 2. A giant, stadium-sized one. But what was I supposed to do? Call them out right then and there? My sister is on the couch in a full leg cast. I felt like a jerk for even being suspicious. So I played along. I made her some tea. I sat and listened to her recount the horrific accident, a story that seemed to get more dramatic with each telling. The other driver was apparently texting and speeding and maybe drunk. It was a miracle she survived. The next morning, the real reason for my summons became clear. The money train was leaving the station. "Alex," my mom started, wringing her hands while I made coffee. "The thing is, with the car being totaled, the insurance company is being so difficult. They said it could be weeks before they even assess it. But Chloe has all these follow-up doctor's appointments she can't miss. She needs a rental car." I sighed. "Okay, I'll look into it." "Oh, thank you, sweetie. You're a lifesaver." I spent the morning on the phone and arranged for a rental, a standard sedan. I had to put the deposit and the first week on my credit card. $500, just like that. When I told them the car was ready, Chloe's face fell. "Oh," she said, looking at the picture on the website. "It's a Kia." "Yeah? It's a car, Chloe. It has wheels. It goes. It's just my neck. The seats in Kias are really not good for whiplash. A small SUV would have much better support." I just stared at her. My mom immediately jumped in. "She's right, Alex. We can't be too careful with a spinal injury. It's not about luxury. It's about her health." I felt my blood pressure rising. But again, how do you argue with that? So I called back, canceled the sedan, and rented a small SUV instead. Another $200. The hits kept coming. Later that day, my mom came to me with a worried look. The prescription for her pain medication is almost $100, even with our insurance. It's just robbery. I handed her a $100 bill. A few hours later, it was Chloe. "My laptop was in the passenger seat during the crash," she said, looking like she was about to cry. "The screen is totally shattered. All my freelance work was on there." Freelance work. That was a good one. Chloe's freelance work consisted of occasionally designing a birthday party invitation for one of her friends on a free app. "I can't believe this," she sniffled. "How am I supposed to make any money to pay you back if I can't even work?" It was a masterclass in manipulation. My mom stood behind her, nodding sadly, rubbing her shoulder. It was a two-pronged attack of guilt and logic twisting. I was exhausted. I was stressed. I felt trapped. "Fine," I said, pulling out my own laptop. "I'll order you a new one. What do you need?" Her eyes lit up. "Oh, well, if I'm going to be doing more graphic design, I really should get a MacBook. The creative software just runs so much better on them." That was it. That was the moment a little switch flipped in my brain. "No," I said, my voice flat. "I'm not buying you a $2,000 MacBook. I will buy you a perfectly capable Windows laptop for $800, or I will buy you nothing at all." She pouted. Mom shot me a look that could curdle milk. But I didn't budge. I ordered the $800 laptop and had it shipped to the house. I was already over $1,500 in the hole, and I'd only been home for 24 hours. I ended up staying for the rest of the week, working remotely from their dining room table, mostly because I felt a grim obligation to see this through. And the more I watched, the more the little inconsistencies piled up. I saw Chloe get up from the couch to grab the TV remote, and for a split second, she put her full weight on her broken leg before catching herself and hopping dramatically. One afternoon, I walked into the living room, and she had her neck brace sitting on the coffee table while she was scrolling through her phone. The second she saw me, she snatched it and fumbled to put it back on, wincing in pain. I heard her on the phone with a friend, her voice not the weak, pained whisper she used with me, but her normal, bubbly self. "Oh my God, you will not believe it," she was saying, laughing. "Yeah, I'm totally out of commission for a while. No, the concert is in 6 weeks. I should totally be fine by then." My suspicion was hardening into a cold, heavy certainty in the pit of my stomach. I felt like a fool. I had to know for sure. My first move was to call the city police department non-emergency line. I gave them the date and the intersection Chloe had described. "Hi," I said. "I'm trying to get a copy of an accident report for a family member's insurance claim." The dispatcher tapped on her keyboard. "Okay, what was the date?" I told her. "And the intersection?" I told her. There was a long pause. "Sir," she said finally, "we have no record of any accident at that location on that date. We had one call for a fender bender about a mile away, but there were no injuries reported and no multi-car pileup anywhere in the city." The phone felt like a block of ice in my hand. No accident. It was all a lie. The whole thing. I needed to see the car. That night, after they were both asleep, I crept out to the garage. Chloe's car was parked in the corner, covered by a big, dusty tarp. My heart was hammering. I pulled the tarp off. I almost laughed. It was the most anticlimactic thing I had ever seen. The car wasn't totaled. It wasn't even seriously damaged. There was a small, circular dent on the front bumper, about the size of a dinner plate, with a few paint scrapes. It looked like she had gently rolled into a parking bollard at the mall. That was it. I stood there in the silent garage, staring at this tiny little dent that had caused this massive, expensive lie. And the anger I felt was something else. It was pure. It was a clean, white-hot rage. It wasn't even about the $1,500 anymore. It was about the fact that they had used my love, my fear, my genuine concern for my sister's life as a tool to manipulate me. They had cried wolf, and I had come running, wallet open. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place the next afternoon. Chloe was taking a nap on the couch, her casted leg propped up. I noticed a small flap of the cotton lining was sticking out near the top. Driven by a morbid curiosity, I gently peeled it back. And there, on the hard, white shell of the cast, was a small, printed label. It had a brand name and a website address. I pulled out my phone and typed it in. The website loaded. It was a novelty and costume supply store. And there it was, right on the homepage, under realistic props. A fake plaster leg cast, available in left or right foot. Price, $49.99. Right below, it was the foam cervical collar neck brace. Price, $19.99. I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. The anger was still there, but now it had a purpose. I knew exactly what I had to do. I didn't say a word. I went upstairs to the guest room and quietly started packing my bag. My mom came to the doorway, a confused look on her face. "What are you doing, Alex? Are you leaving already?" "Yep," I said, folding a shirt. "I'm going home. But Chloe needs you. Her recovery is just starting." I zipped up my bag and walked past her, down the stairs. I went straight into the living room where Chloe was now awake, scrolling through Instagram on her brand new, brother-funded laptop. I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice. I think the coldness was more effective. I pulled out my phone, opened the browser to the novelty store website, and held it in front of her face. "This is a really convincing cast, Chloe," I said conversationally. "The reviews are great. 5 stars. Did you get it on Amazon or directly from the site?" Her face went from bored to ghost white in half a second. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. My mom rushed over. "What on earth are you talking about? What is that?" "I'm talking about this," I said, turning the phone to her. "This is where you buy fake injuries for plays. Or, I guess, for committing fraud against your own family." I looked back at Chloe. Her eyes were wide with panic. "I'm talking about the fact that there was no multi-car pileup. I called the police. I'm talking about the fact that your totaled car has a dent in the bumper the size of my fist. I saw it last night." I started listing things off on my fingers. The rental SUV, $700 for the week. The cash for the fake prescription, $100. This brand new laptop, $800. That comes to $1,600 by my count. Chloe's face started to crumple. The fake tears were coming. How could you say that? She sobbed, clutching her chest. After everything I've been through, I'm in so much pain. My mom, bless her heart, jumped right back into her enabler role. She wrapped her arms around Chloe. Alex, that is enough. Look what you're doing. You're upsetting your sister. She has been through a major trauma. And that's when I finally lost it. A trauma? I said, my voice rising for the first time. The only trauma here is the one you inflicted on my bank account. You two sat here and cooked up this pathetic, insulting scheme, thinking I was just the family idiot who would fall for it. And you know what? You were half right. I fell for it. I drove 3 hours, sick with worry, thinking my sister could be dead. And you used that. But I'm not stupid enough to let you get away with it. I leaned down and looked Chloe right in her tear-filled eyes. You have 48 hours to get that $1,600 back into my bank account. Every single cent. Sell the laptop if you have to. I don't care how you do it. If the money is not in my account by Friday afternoon, I am taking you to small claims court. My mom gasped like I had just slapped her. You wouldn't. You wouldn't sue your own sister. I stood up straight and looked at them both, this little team of con artists. Watch me, I said. And I turned around, walked out the front door, got in my car, and drove away without looking back. Predictably, Friday came and went. My bank account remained stubbornly $1,600 lighter. My mom had called me a dozen times, alternating between screaming and crying. You're tearing this family apart over a little bit of money, she yelled. No, Mom, I said calmly each time. You and Chloe tore this family apart when you decided I was a mark, not a son. So, I filed the papers. It cost me another $100, which I happily added to the total I was suing for. And that's how we ended up in that courtroom. My mom gave the performance of a lifetime on the stand, dabbing her eyes with a tissue, talking about her poor, injured, fragile daughter and her cold, heartless son. But a performance is all it was. When it was my turn, I didn't need theatrics. I had a folder full of evidence. I presented the judge with the printout from the police department confirming no accident was ever reported. I showed him the invoice for the rental car. I handed him the receipt for the laptop that had been delivered to their address. And for the grand finale, I presented the printouts from the novelty prop website, showing the exact cast and neck brace Chloe was wearing in the photos I had taken right next to the item listings. The judge looked over all of it, then looked at Chloe. Ma'am, he said, his voice dripping with disapproval. Did you or did you not obtain these goods and services from your brother under false pretenses? Chloe just crumbled. She sat there, speechless, as the judge ruled decisively in my favor. He ordered her to repay the full $1,700, including my filing fees. The aftermath was quiet. My mom didn't speak to me for 6 months. Chloe, faced with a court order, was actually forced to get a job, a real one, bussing tables at a restaurant, to pay me back. She sent me $200 a month for 9 months. Not a word was ever exchanged, just a notification from my bank. Our relationship is permanently changed. The bank of Alex is closed for good. I don't answer panic phone calls anymore. I visit for major holidays, and it's civil, but it's different. The trust is gone. It's sad, but honestly, my life has never been more peaceful. My phone doesn't ring with manufactured emergencies anymore. My bank account stays mine. I had to nuke my relationship with my family to save it and to save myself.